everybody, and welcome back to the channel. This is our second Conquest special. I don't know why that makes you laugh every time when I do this, but
No, it's
again,
not. Like always.
again, as always, joined with your host, SMG Frenzy, co-host.
Assassin, holy shit, I picked up on what it is. Assassin. But yeah, obviously another special
Another special.
episode 2 of
Mm-hmm.
the special. We have another member of Global Conquerors back in the day. He goes
Ex-member,
by
ex-member.
former doesn't count as X.
Yeah, former X, same thing.
Anyways, he goes by his name is Brian, but everyone knows him as Mr. Frijoleros.
Yep.
Or Brian DeCante 75 something, whatever he used to go by.
Brian 55561. That was my original username.
But obviously, this is gonna be like similar off the first episode we did with Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, their thought process about the org when they were in it, and then what their what their look from it from the outside after they left, and what they've been doing since then. So with my host Mark Tar kicking it off like always. Go ahead, Mark.
Exactly, Brian. We're just gonna talk about first just how it before we get into how you got into the org, how you met both Angel and I. I know how I met you because I met you through Angel, but how did you meet Angel?
Well, we both played football in high school. I was a little, I want to say awkward little kid, annoying at that. I know that for sure. So at any chance I would bug somebody, I would.
Mm-hmm.
So I saw Angel and I, he just so happened to play the same position I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I just saw another Hispanic kid and I was like, I'm gonna talk to him. He's gonna like me eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So to fill in with that, I was close with one of his good friends back in the day, and because they were really close friends, I guess he was just there. I said that. I just said it like that. Like, oh, yeah. He was like, yeah, this is my homie Brian. I was like, and then I was like, what's up, man? He was like, hey. Like she was like, it wasn't how he is now. So he grew out of his shell. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him. Like you said, he was a bit annoying.
I still am to you, but you still like to be around me.
I mean, not annoying as much. It's just jokes now. Back then you were just awkward, but not anymore. You're just you. Then I realized it was just you.
It's just my personality.
But yeah, we met through football. We played football throughout high school. I met him
Your junior
year. Well, technically my sophomore year when they brought
junior year.
freshmen up.
I didn't go up.
Okay, junior year of summer, met them, and like I said, I met his friend, his close friend at the time, and I met him from him, and then since we practiced almost every day, we talked almost every day, and yeah, just another Hispanic, and from there I introduced him. Well, he saw that I hung out with Mark Tarla, and he just, I guess, I don't remember. We had lunch. We all got put into
during lunch.
The very what's that? Okay, the feast that Jesus has for all the disciples. What's that called?
The final dinner.
Last Supper.
Yeah, the final supper. Yeah, that lunch table was the Last Supper every time we came because all of us were there, and that's how we all became friends essentially for like the long term. Hence why we're all here now. What, almost 8 years after we. It was 6 years after we graduated from high school. About 8 years since we've known each other. So that table has brought a lot of good that has remained.
Pretty weird, but yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. Because it's the same way that we met Sean. I met Sean because Angel knew Sean before. I think you met also Sean at that lunch table potentially. Or
you talking to me or you talking to Angel?
I'm talking to you.
I met Sean before anything. I met Sean.
Yeah, because Angel had met Sean in middle school.
We had band together.
Yeah.
Played the JR and JLC too.
Yeah.
JROTC?
No, JLC. In middle school,
it's
called
JLC?
In high school, it's called JROTC.
JROTC. No, I think I met Sean in. I want to say band.
Band? Really?
I really do. Because I know I was in band my sophomore year. Sophomore, junior, and senior year. So I would want to say it was from there. But it could also. He's from the same class from y'all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't think we would have had another class together besides band, unless maybe art. But I don't remember him ever being in art.
No, probably not.
So I want to say it was through band.
Through band, yeah.
But mainly through our lunch table.
Yeah, our lunch table, we all fortunately had schedules that overlapped at lunch for a decent amount of time, which was kind of wild.
I think.
Yeah.
Even when some people left, I think the main core people were still there every year.
Yeah.
So us three, I remember a majority it was us three that were at the same lunch all the time.
Yep.
People would
Andy would be there a lot.
That, I mean,
Abel at one point.
No, Abel wasn't. He just sits somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
But obviously, you remember Quentin, if y'all remember that name.
Arrows. I think Arrows also did sit there a decent amount.
Brother Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Yeah.
Jeff sat with us. Mokhtar knew him from there. Yeah, a lot of people came and go, but I feel like the main three stayed. Sean was there too.
Yep.
And so he got switched. I don't remember. No.
His little brother was there too, I think.
Here and there.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly, but anyways, the main core that our in-globe conference were at that lunch table, and that's where.
Yep.
I guess the idea was there, but with less people at the time. But
yep,
that's how we met. I met Mokhtar. I was the first person Mokhtar met at school, and then he met Sean because of me, because I knew Sean.
Yep.
And then and then Mokhtar or you met each other through me. So without me, this ain't nothing. I'm the reason we here.
No, that is true. Yeah, without Angel, this whole thing doesn't really happen, which is kind of wild. So we're very lucky that it ended up that way. But
all it took was me going up to talk to Mokhtar.
True.
That's all it took.
And history was written there.
All because of Halo. That was it. That's and now we're here 8 years later, somewhat growing the org now, and making good content and bringing back ex-members and talking about their experience. So we are. But yeah, that's how we met. And it's been a long ride now, so go ahead with the next one.
Brian, I want to ask you, who approached you on joining the org, and how did they approach you? I know the answer, but I want to hear it from your POV.
I know that. Well, it was from the person who was here previously on the last episode.
So to clarify, we all played together and we recorded the videos together. Just no one was part of the team. This is before I was in.
Yep.
So we all knew each other. We played games together. We were on videos together. So, but yeah. So obviously, we talked about it in the last episode with Sean, but this is from his perspective now. And so go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I want to fill in.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, it was through Sean.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember a lot because it is a couple years that it happened. But I guess the topic came up where he was mentioning that y'all were starting an org and that y'all were not really looking for people, but that y'all were trying to expand your taste and how y'all would play and how y'all would communicate. And I think because when you're younger and you see when it comes to video games, you want to be part of a group. I guess I was just you should try to get me in. You should see if y'all need a member. I'll be down to help out. I don't mind learning and growing with y'all as well. Which at the moment he just said that he was going to see and that he wasn't sure. But after I think a couple of weeks or a couple of days, he did finally tell me that y'all had accepted. So I was a bit excited to join him.
The funny part. Go ahead. Here's what you gotta say.
No, that's it.
So what Sean said is yo, I got a big surprise with y'all. Just trust me on it. He didn't talk to us about it. He just said I have a big surprise. We're another new player, and that was it. And he said he had everything already uploaded, ready, and it was the funniest thing because we didn't know it would lead to like 2 months later.
Oh,
He would end up leaving.
you're talking about the video?
Yeah, but what happened is he told us, what was it, a couple days before he announced it, but he said, he didn't come tell me, but he just said, yeah, there's a player I picked up. You'll find out when we release the video. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
That's what he told us. So we didn't know who it was until the video came out and who the title was. So that's from our POV. So obviously Sean never talked to us about it. He just said we had player and he recorded the video.
Yep.
And it was the funniest thing ever because after he signed you, 2 months later he left, and it was the funniest thing ever. So technically, in reality, you would be technically the first player to sign with the team, if you want to consider it, or fourth.
I would say second, because technically, Angel, you were the first player because you weren't part of the staff at first.
So yeah, I wasn't a part of the idea. But
yeah.
I'm the
No, you were
reason
part
why.
of the idea, but you didn't join on as an owner at the beginning. You joined on strictly as like a player.
So, anyways, before we go on, so that's our perspective. Sean said he had signed somebody, and he didn't tell nobody. I didn't really care because I wasn't a part of it. It was more so with him between Mokhtar, but he told us, and yeah, we found out who, and I think we started laughing because we kind of like knew, but not really because he just didn't tell us.
Mm.
But more so is we didn't find out until everyone else found out. So
I will say, I will say that video that I recorded for the introduction is god awful. It is one of the worst things I've ever decided to do in my life. Because I've gone back and I've seen it. I've seen it 2 to 3 times already, and I can't stand myself.
What were you and Sean thinking when that was recorded?
No,
So go ahead.
No,
go ahead. You got.
No, all I'm gonna say,
I'll let you go.
Is all I know is Sean had an idea, and the idea didn't work out.
Not at all.
So random. But it was good though. But go ahead and say what you gotta say.
No. It was. I was trying to make some kind of comedy out of it, some kind of joke out of it, because I know I didn't really take myself too serious. But he did tell me, tell me about yourself, tell me what your goals are, tell me what you want to do in this organization, and how you're gonna grow into it. And that's what I did. I know the voiceover that I did. I pretty much explained what I wanted to do, and the video part, like the actual idea itself, I don't know. I mean, it was him. It was mainly his idea. Yep. It's what he kind of wanted. But going back to it and seeing it, yeah, no, that was a god awful decision.
It wasn't god awful. It was just not well recorded. From like, if we were to record that intro with what we know now, from what we recorded recently, it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Like the camera work we did, and like, it would have been a lot. It would have came out cleaner, but you learn those skills, and we talked about it with Sean. Like, you learn these skills, the more you watch people, the more you practice it. So, it just felt like some type of intro that you would learn, or just do, just to do it, or like just to put out.
Mm-hmm.
But like, the way me and Mokhtar have, decided to take stuff and learn stuff properly. The editing with the goodbye and then the close-ups at Worlds and stuff, like it came out clean, and obviously, it would have came out a lot more cleaner if Sean would have told us. We would have probably done it in a proper way, but it happens, and we were just kids learning, so
yeah.
Yeah, and then we pretty much started expanding the org pretty quick at the time, but yeah.
Right after Brian joined, the org's membership count kind of ballooned real quickly, as we talked about in the Sean episode. I actually wanted to talk about with you specifically, Brian. So we signed you on specifically as Rainbow Six at the time to lead our growing Rainbow Six roster. So I gotta ask you,
Yeah.
why Rainbow Six as a game? Because as you know, like I'm mainly Halo, Angel's mainly COD. So seeing a game that I believe at the time Rainbow Six like released wasn't popular, so it was on the downturn, and then they had us upturn towards like when COVID happened. So
Yeah.
what about Rainbow Six made you latch onto it that you even want to go competitive in it?
So if I remember correctly, even before Rainbow Six came out, not yeah, I guess yeah, before or just right at the beginning.
Hmm.
I think in my PS3 eras, I used to play a lot of Call of Duty Black Ops 2, and I remember very faintly that because I couldn't afford to buy a new gen console and be able to afford those kind of games, I I would make up my own kind of strategy on Black Ops 2. I would get a bunch of people, like a bunch of friend groups that I had online, and we would play somewhat what Rainbow Six Siege was.
Hmm.
We would make like a custom game, pretty much, and we enjoyed it a lot. I remember very vividly, but I remember I played it, especially on the one map on it's the one where there's a house and there's a gas station on the far right corner. There's the alleyway to the back way. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's a gas station on the far right corner. From there, you have a building in front of it that you can enter, and then to the left of it was the house that had an upstairs area.
Yeah, I know exactly what it's about.
It had like a barn aspect to it. You may not remember the name, but you know what I'm talking about. Um,
I'm pissed off.
but I remember we would use the big house as like the objective, and we would play as search and destroy,
Mhm.
and that's how we did it. So I guess from there I kind of had the interest or the attraction towards the game. It's a different concept, obviously, going from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. What was it called?
It's standoff. I was right. I was right.
Standoff. Okay, yeah, yeah. So from going from like Call of Duty style kind of games to more of a if you die you have consequences type game.
Mhm.
I guess it kind of intrigued my interest, and I kind of grew up. Yeah, that one right there.
Yeah, standoff.
That one.
Right.
I kind of once I was able to buy the game on my console,
Mhm.
I couldn't stop playing it. I enjoyed it. I played it for a good amount of years until I want to say maybe 4 years of straight playing it, 4 or 5 years. I
Mhm.
kind of burned myself out, and I couldn't do it no more. And I know I've tried to go back to it recently, and I just can't.
Okay.
I've lost my touch on it, but I still enjoy it whenever I do go play.
Would you say that when you were playing the game religiously at the time, that you want to like potentially go into like the competitive aspect of the game?
Yeah, I know. I did play a lot of ranked at one point because I had my group. I had my 4 or 5. I think it was 4. Yeah, because it's 5 of us in total. 4 people that I had good connections with, and we were able to play the game really well. We were able to compete at a decent level. Maybe not all the way to the top as we should have, but we still enjoyed it at what it was. And I know at the time I was practicing to
Mhm.
become as good as I wanted to be.
Okay. And then to continue on, as you were the Rainbow Six captain here at GC, what ended up happening with the roster down the road?
Honestly, it wasn't really much. I know we had our group chat and everything where we tried to communicate, but not many people would get on.
Mhm.
So it kind of made it difficult to kind of schedule time to play with other people and try to get them to be on the same page.
Mhm.
Maybe I could have done more. It was a lot that I could have probably done more that I wish I did. But as an inexperienced player or inexperienced type of captain, I guess you could say, I didn't know how to really lead a group the way I thought I did.
Mhm.
Um, Maybe now with what I've known and how I play, and my maturity as a person itself, I feel like I would be able to lead some group or at least try to gather them up to get the basic fundamentals down of at least practicing, at least communicating with each other, trying to build some kind of bond with them.
Mhm.
But I know the biggest issue was that maybe there was a lot of lackness that I should have done more, but I didn't. But it wasn't only me. I know the 2, 3 members I had on my group. didn't really they weren't consistent, I should say. They would respond after a couple of days, or they would respond after weeks. Honestly, I think at one time I got a week after response, and I just couldn't really lead my team as I went on to.
Yeah. I think it plagues into what Angel and I and we talked about with Sean also last week, where the org, of course, tried to grow a little too big, too fast from the 2017 to 2021 period, where we wanted to be in every big esport that was accessible, and Rainbow Six was one of them at the time. And at our age, trying to run an organization and get people to show up to practice and commit to going to events and stuff was very, very difficult.
With no contracts, no salaries, it was just try to get people to be committed to the progress. And obviously, we couldn't hold players. If they left, they left.
Yep.
I mean, there's no really like no contract buyouts. I mean, stuff like that. Obviously, me, Mokhtar, and San. I mean, we made an actual contract for ourselves. I mean, obviously, y'all signed it, but obviously, we talked about it before you signed it. That obviously we don't have the funds yet, and hopefully, when we do, we could provide, um, um, our players that deserve it. And then obviously, it's just it's hard to run a team with no money.
Yep.
And have a bunch of people try to just commit to the progress or the dream that y'all have, and what they expect or what they saw when they first joined. I mean, it was the hardest thing, and I think that's the reason why we struggled when we were just growing and bringing people in. We obviously people when we try to record stuff, obviously people weren't showing up because there was nothing
No passion.
passion
There's
or
just no
something.
passion.
And so yeah, crazy because I think if you would have actually got your Rainbow Six, you would have been the first official team for our org. And then since that felt didn't I mean felt didn't fall through, um, stayed on, um, and pursued like content, and you recorded with us, obviously off your own will.
Yep.
But obviously you saw the vision, and you saw a bunch of group of people that you talked to outside of the gaming world, you would say, and so it helped a lot. And then you grew the bonds with people, and then makes for good video and stuff like that. So
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was also difficult because I mean, I'm jumping from a group that I played with for almost like a year and a half
Yep.
with my friend group that I got really along well when it came to Siege. Try to adapt myself to another different play style with other people that I barely had met, maybe a couple of days. So I know that made it a little bit more difficult, especially for myself, to try to adapt to other people's play styles. Knowing that I was more of a cautious type of player in those kind of games, I don't like to play things overly aggressive. I had rather been more on the safe side and wait it out. Versus, I know some of those players on that team were more aggressive and they were willing to run around and end up dying a lot quicker than what you wanted it to be.
Yeah. I do want to ask, before I forget, I think if you remember in 2019, we signed our first international player, Smithy, who was also a Rainbow Six player. I don't recall, did you and Smithy ever play Rainbow Six together?
We did not.
Not, okay.
I think it was mainly because of time zone differential, as well as I think I was working at that time, so I know to organize myself with him was a bit more difficult.
Damn, the team that could have been.
Yeah, it would have been interesting because Smithy
I think he had a full team but one player, and I mean, you would have I think you would have fit right in with them. So yeah, like he had his three, him, and then obviously the other two people or the other three people he played with. I think they would play like with random with like one of their friends, like different friends every time.
Yeah.
So he had his solid. I mean, the solid four. They just didn't have the solid five, or was it five? Yeah, right. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
five.
It's five. It's five per team. Yeah,
So,
five per team.
so because of like the whole like obviously they're from the UK and stuff, the time zones are different, and I mean, what could have been, we will never know. Obviously, time zones, and then people have their lives out of this, which means we weren't forcing people to do what you know, forcing them to do stuff for us. Obviously, they have their lives. They have no commitment to us. besides, um, you know, just
Their will of
their
wanting to
will and
do
their
it.
yeah, exactly. So, a lot of what if and what could have been,
Yeah.
but I think it worked out in the best because it ended up, it ended up, helping me and Mark to understand what works and what didn't work. Um, but I mean, it's cool. We're here. Um, but
But I
I mean,
like
it
to
would have
see
been
that you're growing the org a lot better than or I guess in a more in a better pace, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
more.
Instead of trying to rush it in and getting things done as quick as possible, you're taking your time and you're realizing what you need to get done
Yep.
to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah, I think we're doing it more reasonable this time. Like I mean, you said it. Think about it. We think of it like this: the first 6 months, give us say that we rebranded, we redesigned the whole look. We got merch the next following month. We
Which I
had,
never received my hoodie.
Oh no.
anyways. That's my turn.
Huh? We
Then
got
okay.
delisted from Insight Co because you have
He
to
didn't.
have
He didn't want to give me one.
yeah, you have to have purchase. Insight Co is like if you want to stay as a listing, you have to have purchases one purchase every 3 months. Very difficult when maybe 20 people max knew about the org, and 6 people bought merch, and those 6 people were people that were in the org besides one random who will never know who bought merch from the org. But
Yeah.
Yeah. So um, we got into so many. To a point where I didn't even know what sponsors we had. I didn't even know we had a sponsorship with Clinch Gaming. I didn't know that. I found that out last podcast. That's the first thing I did. I never knew.
mhm.
So and then we had the Turtle Beat. Um, I guess you could say the sponsorship in a way.
That was our biggest partnership, Turtle
Yeah,
Beach.
and that was literally a month after Sean left. So like you were here when that happened, and
Yeah.
everything just went by fast, and I mean we weren't able to maintain it. We literally tried to go with like no followers, no following.
Mhm.
Literally our channel, like our 20, I guess at the time was our 20 people that we talked to daily. So it wasn't really something we could expand on and have people buy because it's people we talked to. And it was majority of us was the people in the org
Yep.
who had already bought and stuff. So pretty hard. Like I said, we didn't see really much growth,
Mhm.
not many views. So we didn't know what we were doing wrong, and we did everything too quick to I feel like to a point where I mean we kept trying, but there's just I started like I didn't tell them last podcast, but I started losing like faith
Mhm.
because we saw no progress. So
So yeah, I
and I
think
thought with bringing you on, well, when we found out would help elevate, I guess another face or another personality because obviously my personality with them was different but they were like somewhat similar. So having like I guess you would say like me and you are our personalities are somewhat similar. Maybe that would have like helped us, but um, I mean it was just a bad timing because Sean left right after, and it just left a pretty big gap. I mean I said this already in the last one, but it left a pretty big hole in between me and Mark Turn since he had to figure out what to do and then figure out a new owner, like another. And obviously, I was the first person he approached because I've been there longer, and we went on from that. So we try to go off of what we had, and then I thought we were doing good, you know, because when you joined, I thought but since we got the sponsorship, I'm like, okay, we're off to a good start. But it's just there was nothing, no, there was no motion going on, and like I think that's what led to the org going to where it was, and then, but yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to take up like your time and like what you had to say, but
no,
I
you're
had
good.
just had to fill in what had to be filled in.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah, the main thing is that the org, we tried to act too much like a top five org when we didn't have anything that top five orgs had at the time. And obviously we still don't, which is why, like Brian mentioned, we're growing at a much more reasonable place where we have like our social media has become a bit more active. Our YouTube is on a very regular schedule where we have two videos that come out at the same time every week. So there's consistency that you need to be able to grow a fan base, and it clearly has worked. Like I mentioned, the podcast we just recorded with our Halo stuff, where content has been growing and we've passed 200 views on our most recent video, and people are like actually staying to watch it. So that consistency and
Yeah.
that improvement in quality has helped us grow as an org. And without the
Wait.
experiences that we had with people like Sean, Brian, Edith, and whatnot, if we didn't have those experiences, we wouldn't be in the place that we are today with the lessons that we learned.
So at the time, let me just. Well, how we are now, it's been easy because I've been able to help take the workload off Mokhtar because I got fortunate because I knew Brian, and then because I knew Brian's friend at the time. I don't know if they're still friends. I don't know anymore, or are they? I don't know.
They're not. We're not. I mean, we've had our differences, but honestly, that's in the
Oh,
past.
but
But
because I knew Brian, I was able to get fortunate with a PC, and I've been able to take the
oh, you're talking
workload off.
about Billy. Never
Yes.
mind. Yeah, that's my dog. So
Okay, well,
don't mess
because
with
I
him.
knew I knew Brian, was able to get fortunate with the PC. I've had my issues with it, but it's not issues where it's end of the world or I have to start from scratch. I've been able to take the workload because obviously he has school. He has his school is like he goes to school almost every day. And because of it, we were only able to upload one video every couple weeks,
Yeah, it
once,
was really
twice a week.
inconsistent.
So obviously, not trying to make this about just the or, but help that. And obviously, before where we are now, we had Edith, and obviously Brian would know. We knew it helped us focus on content, so we would send her our stuff to her. Our Instagram was active because of her, so um, it's someone we didn't mention a lot in the last podcast, which I feel bad because she was a big part and she's the reason why our Instagram and had a lot of traction, comments, so hopefully we get a podcast with her one of these days, so we could go in more into depth as well as like how we do it. We're doing it right now, which I thought is a good idea, and but like I said, but go ahead with Brian's
No, yeah, of course.
questions.
Brian, so after the Rainbow Six team fell through, like with our other organizations, and the team focused on Halo as our only esport, as you know, we transitioned everyone else to content creation, and you were one of our premier and consistent content creators. What was your experience like during that time? Because you were streaming probably more games than Angel and I. Angel and I stuck to like one or two games during streaming, but you had a big like variety, if I recall, when you did your content stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that once the Rainbow Six Siege thing kind of fell through. I know y'all talked about how we should probably focus on more of a social media, not really social media, but more of a like how I
Content,
say it. Yeah, yeah, content. Yeah, sorry.
content
Uh,
team.
content team. Try to grow individually to make that one org grow bigger. So I know I'm not really good at shooters, and I understand that. I knew it from the beginning. The only game that I was somewhat decent was at Siege, because I've always tried playing COD, and I'm not really good at it. I've tried playing Fortnite, and again, my aim is not as well as I always wanted it to. So I had to resort to playing other type of games. Knowing Minecraft, I know I remember played Roblox for a good amount. Madden was one of my big ones that I used to stream a good amount. Later towards the end of the org, I streamed a lot of FIFA. Um, I know
NBA.
I tried to stick to sports games because I know there is an audience for it, and I know I wanted to create some kind of variety between the org because I know you were mainly Halo, like you said, Angel's mainly COD, but it's mainly shooters, and it would help to have some kind of variety after that. So I kind of try to steer myself towards the sports area, knowing that that was more of my stronger suit. Um, But again, it wasn't only just sports. I tried to play everything, anything that was possible to be played. There was always some kind of audience for it.
No, yeah, definitely. And with the way that you do content now on TikTok, you still do a lot of sports things, but you also do some things outside of gaming if you want to go into that for your current day
Yeah,
content.
yeah. So I mean, I don't post it too much on my TikTok. I know at one point I did, but I didn't see really much success off of it. So I keep it on my IG.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of sports cards designs and stuff like that. Which I've gone to events every year. I go to a major event that happens here in the gallery over there near Cobb. I think when Cobb where the battery's at.
Yeah.
And that's Cobb kind of right. Yeah. So I go there. It's Culture Collision. That's what it's called. I go every February, and it's one of those things where it's a nice experience. I mean, it keeps me distracted from other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I like to do on my spare time. Whenever I get a minute, I just sit down and I kind of let it go, and I distress myself from the world, from working, from school, and just let my creative mind kind of go.
Okay, and these are like, if I'm correct, these are like custom cards that you like hand make yourself.
Yes,
Nice.
I
Okay.
have some. I'm sitting at my desk where I do them, so I have all of these sports cards. I mean, I have handfuls of just sports cards sitting around me. But I can show you this. All this.
Oh wow. Okay.
I have a good amount, and it's not. That's just a dent into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I know, especially after the org kind of broke itself apart. I didn't really find myself doing too much content, especially because I don't know how to do it too well.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself as a person who connects well when I have somebody who is kind of the same style with me. That's why whenever I do stream, it's always either with Angel or with one of my other friends that I know that we have some kind of connection and we can make entertaining content.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to go solo for me honestly isn't my thing. I don't feel like I'm too entertaining enough to keep somebody kind of interested in what I'm saying. But once I have my duo or my second person that I know I can kind of go back and forth with,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it is a better experience. And I've noticed it when I do stream by myself and when I stream with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the content is a lot better.
Okay. No, that's totally reasonable. Like, I'm sure you've seen like a lot of Twitch streamers, especially those starting out, like don't necessarily feel comfortable or just not the best at one-on-one conversation, especially when there's nothing going on in chat or it's you playing a tactical game, so there's not much conversation happening. But like you said, also like when you're with people, especially if you look at some of our older videos and when we play like Halo or Minecraft for Fortnite, you bring a different type of life to the environment that gets really funny at times and
Very
has
controversial with others,
it's true, it's true.
but it's funny for us, and it keeps the vibes and everything alive. So
Exactly. Oh yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna ask this question to every guest that we have on this channel, and it's two questions in specific. It is, what do you think you learned when you were in this environment with us in GC for the 5-6 years that you're here? And then number two, what do you think that us as GC today has learned from our mistakes, trials, and tribulations from the past 7-8 years?
yeah, and then I'm gonna ask you one more question after those questions.
Let's start off with the first question. You said what I learned when I was with the org for the 8 years that I was around.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, it was mainly, I guess, understanding what a group should, kind of act and how they should communicate with others. Beforehand, like I said, I was never really in a group like that. I've had my friends that I would play with, but never an organized group how we tried to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it was a nice learning experience of seeing how it's not only just me sitting on my chair playing video games just casually, just trying to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
But there's an aspect to it where you can grow as a group with other people who have the same hunger or the same desire that you have to be better than what you are at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess being with y'all for that amount of time, even if I didn't do as much as I wanted to, I still grew a little bit. I understood what making content was. I understood how to make content in the way I've kind of done now, and I'm still now working on it because, as I mentioned to Angel a couple of days ago, that I've been editing a video on my own, so I can start trying to upload this kind of gaming content to see if I can get my name out there a little bit more. And down to the second question, where as a group, what we learned. Um, I kind of touched on it earlier, where I mean, you realize that moving too fast wasn't really the smartest choice. I know we tried to touch ourselves in different bases, where you wanted to be in the COD community, you wanted to be in the Rainbow Six Siege community, you wanted to be in the Halo community. You tried to expand way too much to amount to nothing. I know you grabbed a lot of people. You tried to make the org as big as possible, but in grabbing those people, there was a lot of inconsistencies with them. It wasn't as much desire as some of us would have had. Like, I know you and Angel had the most desire out of the group. Maybe Sean at one point had that hunger, that drive to try to make something out of, something small, something in a smaller circle.
Yeah.
And I know at one point I had my drive. Maybe it came towards the end of the org dying, but I at least attempted to play my part. So I couldn't have said that I didn't do anything to help out. I at least tried to put my efforts into making the little, I guess, effort, making a little effort to increase what was there and what could have tried to, save what we had.
Yeah.
Even though I know I used to stream extremely late hours, 11, 12 p.m., 12 a.m., sorry. No, it's BPM, right?
No, it's AM.
Yeah, BPM. It's AM, right? Yeah, because it's going on to the next day, AM. So, going from like almost midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. I know there's not a lot of people there, but there is a group that tends to be up for that. But I guess that also did help in some sense. Y'all would stream in the day, and y'all always would have somebody that could stream at the nighttime in case people would stay up for it.
Yeah. No, well, certainly. And then I think, Angel, you said you also had a question for him.
Well, I actually got two, but I'm gonna say the first one. Okay.
You gonna say your question? No. You gonna just stare at the sky?
I was trying to think of the other one. The other one was a good one, but the one I do know is, since you've been out of GC now. Oh no! I got it. I remember. I remember my first question now, and then I'll tell you the other one. So, what was your first initial thought about Global Conquerors when you first heard that it was coming back last year, when it had only been gone for a couple months?
So I knew it wasn't going to be something where I could just, show up and be like, yeah, I want to be back in what you're doing. I understand that, especially after I had that talk with you, that you were trying to grow as pretty much a duo for the meantime. Trying to at least have some kind of base where once you start bringing people in, it's not like how we first initially had it, where there was no base to stand on. We were trying to build all of us at the same time, obviously at different paces and at different inconsistencies. But I think having only two of y'all do it at the moment, I feel like it's the smartest choice. It's probably the best choice to do. Because again, if you start rushing into bringing multiple people back into the org, you might have that inconsistency as you previously experienced at the beginning. So honestly, I think it's a really good decision. I was mainly, I guess I was surprised because I know when I saw the video that y'all put, because I think y'all said that was it, y'all were done. But obviously, I'm really close with Angel, so we'll have our conversations once in a while. And I know that topic came up one day, and I was just, like I said, a bit surprised that y'all would decide to try it again. But I also wasn't really, because I wasn't too surprised at that, because I know Angel, and I know his hunger to become a esports player. I know he's always mentioned it to me. He's always told me about it. And his ups and downs. Whenever he's frustrated and whenever he's happy, I'm always there listening to his rants and his frustrations.
Really, towards you, dude.
It is, but look, that's what happens, right? So honestly, when I heard it come back, I knew I was gonna support y'all with whatever I could, the best I could myself. I know I've been wanting to listen to every podcast, which sometimes I just forget because I have other things I worry about in my life. Where I'll forget to when I get a minute to sit down, I can listen to your podcast. But like I said, you have my 100% support, even if I'm not in the group. I'm gonna support as much as I could.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my second question is,
Mhm.
now that you've been out of GC and now that you are a viewer instead of a player, from how GC is now that we're growing it, obviously you talked about it a little bit, but like from the outside view, is it how much different is it now than it was back then?
Like I said, I touched on it already. Running the style that you're running now is a more traditional style that I've seen recently. It's more trendy, we could say, where you'll have two people try to build themselves up instead of having four, five, six people at the same time. It's rare where you can get a group of people to coordinate the same and get to have that same dedication as one other person could have.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I said, the route that you're taking right now is probably the best route that you could be taking at the moment. Where once y'all two build your chemistry up and how y'all can interact with each other on camera, I feel like that's where the org can increase. Because I know y'all still play Halo together. I don't know if y'all play COD. I don't think y'all do, right? I know Angel does, but I don't know if Mokhtar you join them or not.
I
No,
don't
Not
have
right.
any
Okay.
COD
See.
now.
COD
So,
can't play COD anymore after this game is like updated now.
mm-hmm.
But
So I know when it comes to Halo, I know y'all still very consistent with that. I know at a certain time, I don't think. Go ahead. What?
we I mean because of him not playing COD with we decided to transition and do other stuff that we could do together, which I think was a good choice because we just don't have to force ourselves to upload COD and Halo anymore. So because of it, we got a Minecraft series that we are doing properly this time instead of rushed, and we didn't even upload them. So it just we would record these stream them for nothing. So now that we are uploading them, it helped us this and that. So like you said, we're doing it properly this time, and then we're building a actual foundation this time. So, but
Yeah, but no, it's a great decision, honestly, between both of y'all. It's a smarter decision, and I like it.
Oh yeah, thank you. I
wait,
guess.
one more. I'm about to hit you with the hard question.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see.
If you let's just say one day one of us offers you an opportunity to come back, would you come back?
I'm taking it 100%. The same dedication I showed towards the end, I know I can show again, and I know I can grow more with what I did. So I still have that hunger. I know I make content, but it's not the greatest, honestly, because I'm still trying to understand what editing is. I'm trying to understand how to be as, charismatic on a camera than
Mm-hmm.
it is, when you're just talking to your friends. So there's a learning curve that I'm still trying to understand,
Mm-hmm.
but I would take that offer 100% always because I want to keep growing with somebody um, to at one point where I can at least say that I have a small little fan base.
So
Hey, you heard it here first.
I
So
feel okay because of what he said. I feel like we have the pieces to build what we can build originally with the right. Because we talked to Sean and he said that if he ever had the opportunity to join back, he would too. Because we actually have the foundation, we have the actual proper knowledge this time, and
But here's the thing: why did he leave in the first place? If you don't mind me asking.
sure, Sean,
so
he covered it in his video, but like he felt that the org was going in a direction that he wasn't going. we covered a lot on really wanting to compete in very select titles. He wanted to personally grow out his own brand more so than go out into like a whole competitive spiel. So he split off to do his own content to grow his own personality and name and whatnot, which is why he left.
So
That's what.
uh,
But did he leave just abruptly like that, or was
well,
there?
he told Mokhtar, but he left like unexpectedly. But he told Mokhtar he was, and,
Yep.
but I mean, he had the right mindset, and I think because we were doing it too fast, what he wanted was us to grow the org while growing our brand at the same time, which he had a good point and everything. So he had the right plan, and because of so much stuff was going on quick, we just didn't properly talk about it as a group.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's where our communications between the three of us disconnected. And I mean, everyone had their rights and their opinions. I mean, he had his idea, and I mean, he said it took him a second to like properly get going, but he's starting to understand it now.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, we had me and Mokhtar talked about this. We had a when he hit me up with the idea first before he uploaded the video. And yeah, we probably had like a 2-3 hour conversation about it, about just doing it again, but building the base first, having the proper knowledge that we do now, and obviously, so he left because he thought, well, pretty much what we're doing now is what he was preaching back then,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah,
because we were just kids that were hungry to go build something quick, we didn't think about it for the long term. We thought about it. We thought for the quick gain.
Yep.
the
And
short term.
esports was really popping, so we thought we could just hop onto the trend, but we just did everything fast. And yeah, he left and he wanted to build his own brand. And he's doing a great job. I mean, he understood. He's starting to he understood it. And I mean, I feel like I learned a lot of things from him last week last whenever we did that video with
Yeah.
him. So yeah, his mindset has changed. He takes it very serious, and he knows what he's talking about. So obviously, us going our separate ways with him helped us to understand us better,
Mm-hmm.
and it helped him understand and learn more. So when everything fell apart, we ended up learning more. Like, hey, if we're gonna do this, we gotta do it the proper way, and we learned. So we learned from it.
You gotta do it right.
Obviously, you know, the itch for content hit you, which means you wanted to do content. Obviously, you started doing content. Think about it. You weren't doing this when you first started with it. So you got that itch when you were with us. So if we would have just done everything properly, we would have not have to worry about shutting the org down. And if we would have just kept the circle small, even with 4 of us at the time, maybe plus 5 of Edith,
Mm-hmm.
think we would have been okay. I think we would still be here. Without shutting it down, and still think our connections with everyone that were in the org would have been a lot better than what we are now. But it's a really good, these things are good to connect and to see what people's perspective was, because people really didn't learn about the person. This I feel like this is what is it's helpful, because you get to learn about you more and what your thought process was when you were in the org, and what you saw us as, and what you saw, and what this could do for you. And yeah, and obviously the org died at the worst time, but
Mm-hmm.
because of it, you got a creative itch that ended up helping you more and helping you build your thing, right? So ended up working
Yeah,
out. Everything ended up working out better for everybody, because ended up, everyone started working on their own selves, and then everyone's doing great. I mean, everyone's doing good for themselves. We're doing good, like each individually and as a org. Sean's doing good. You just started getting your content going, so you're off to a start with the knowledge that you have now, which will help you out a lot more. And yeah, I mean, or die and help everyone understand and realize a better idea on how to properly do things, not just for the org, but for themselves individually.
Yeah, that's true.
Most certainly. So before we wrap this up, I guess, Brian, is there anything you want to add from your end that you think we didn't cover?
No, honestly, I think y'all touched on almost every basis of what happened during the time frame of the org of when I was there.
Okay, I'll just throw you then one random question that might be a bit detached. What's your favorite game right now?
FIFA.
FIFA. You show up a Pikachu and you say FIFA. Thought you were gonna say like Power World or some Nintendo game.
No, I actually am going back, and I'm playing the Fire Red game again. I'm planning to actually finish it because I've always started it but never finished it. But I'm determined to finish the game this time.
Okay. Well, you let us know how that journey goes. But I think that's it for us here. Thank you, Ryan, for joining us for this special episode and for the podcast before. And thank you, Pikachu, for also joining us for this episode. Our next Conquest special, we will see who our next guest is. I do have an idea, and I think Angel does too. We'll see if the plans do fall in place.
But look, just because he showed up on the podcast doesn't mean it will be the last time you see him in anything. Mm-hmm. We said this with Sean too. So they will be returning in videos one way or the other. It could be a podcast, another just us talking. Our special guests will be making returns. Obviously, these are original players, so they do belong in our growth because they were here when we built it, and they deserve to be a part of it still, even if they're not a part of it. Because without them, we wouldn't be where we are now. So they will be. All our special guests will be returning one way or the other. So expect a lot of all of them, especially Brian, in more videos later down the road. Yep. But with that being said, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn that notification bell, comment what you didn't like, what you liked, what color is the sky today, and follow our descriptions down below. And follow his socials also in the down below at, well, I don't know, he has different socials for everything.
I do. I think it's Mr. Frijoleros for most of them, the majority of them. I think the only one that's different is my IG, which is Mr. Frijoleros Sports Cards. No, sorry, Frijoleros Sports Cards.
Gotcha. Yeah, you'll find the links to all those in our description.
But make sure you go back and look at the other videos the Global Conquerors podcast where he's in it. Go back and look at the other one. Yeah. We will see you guys in the next
one. What?
Peace.
Does it do the heart? It does do the heart. Yo.